So, as promised, we're getting reaction to the League Cup semi-final, which finished Celtic 6, Aberdeen nil. Going into the game, it was billed as the top two going against each other, which it is, but Celtic put the foot down today and gave Aberdeen a massive reality check, it has to be said, and the man on the screen there was at the heart of a scintillating Celtic performance. Celtic will go into the final full of confidence that they could do that again, potentially to whoever meets them in the final, whether it be Motherwell or Rangers, which we'll cover that game tomorrow as well. But without further ado, let's get into the match ratings for the players and the managers. Starting off with Celtic, because for whatever reason, FOTMob billed them as the home team. I know it was in Glasgow, of course, so that might be the case. But Kasper Schmeichel literally didn't have a single save to make in the game today, apart from a really tame effort from Jamie McGrath in the second half. Was totally comfortable in terms of passing the ball out, apart from one instance again in the second half. So a 6.5 out of 10 for me for Kasper Schmeichel, who keeps yet another clean sheet for Celtic. Alistair Johnson got an excellent assist, was really well and done really well in terms of bombing forward. Defensively was solid. I think you got to give him an 8 out of 10 for his performance today. Going to go for an 8.5 out of 10 for Cameron Carter-Vickers. Of course, he scores a towering header to break the deadlock in this game. And defensively, he's just so solid. He brings a calmness to that back line whenever he's in it, whether he's got Trusty next to him or Scales next to him. It doesn't seem to matter. He is the absolute pillar of that defence, and he got a goal on top of it today. So definitely an 8.5 out of 10 for Cameron Carter-Vickers. Austin Trusty, there was a couple of times where he maybe looked like he could have got caught on the ball. However, I thought he was very good at getting the ball forward. Going to go for a 7.5 out of 10 for Austin Trusty today. Alex Valle, again, like I keep saying whenever I'm covering Celtic games, he seems to be improving game on game. There's still little niggling bits where he could be improving on in terms of defensively, but I'm also going to go for a 7.5 out of 10 for Alex Valle today. Arne Engels, he's been coming under a lot of criticism in the media. Whether or not that's founded is a discussion for another day. I don't think it is, and I thought today he was very, very good. 2 assists to his name, one for the Carter Vickers goal and one for the Nicholas Kuhn goal. I think an 8 out of 10 for Arne Engels today for his performance is a fair result for him. Callum McGregor didn't get involved in any of the goals per se, but he helps that Celtic midfield tick over. He's been that missing spark the past couple of games. Comes back in today, and Celtic score 6 goals. However, based off of some of the other performances, I am going to score him a 7.5 out of 10 overall, since he didn't get involved in any goals. And I think there was one midfielder that shone above the rest. That being Reo Hatate. Even though he wasn't directly involved in goals or assists, his play today was just sensational. It was nearly impossible to get the ball off him from the Aberdeen midfield perspective. Rolling his men, playing through some terrific passes. I think an 8.5 out of 10 for Reo Hatate is more than a fair score for him. Nicholas Kuhn, he gets a goal, and a really great goal at that, and he also gets an assist as well in the game for Daisen Maeda. I think defensively as well, he done such a good job today, driving forward. What a transformation compared to last season. I think a 9 out of 10 for Nicholas Kuhn would be a fair score for him also. Kyogo, of course, scores as well. Has a big part to play in the goals that followed as well. I think an 8.5 out of 10 for Kyogo today, because there was a couple of occasions misplaced pass, maybe could have done a bit better with it. So 8.5 out of 10 for Kyogo. And now we get to the quite clear man of the match. 3 goals scored, 1 assist as well for Kyogo. He does brilliantly for that goal as well to sit Mitov down. He won the ball back for that one. I think he's going to have to be the first 10 out of 10 Daisen Maeda that I've given to someone on the channel for one of these football match reactions. Yes, there was a couple of things with misplaced passes and stuff like that, touches out of play, particularly for that one where Brendan Rodgers fell over. But to be involved in 4 goals and score a hat trick, I think a 10 out of 10 is fair for Maeda. I think he's had a terrific season for Celtic. He'd maybe not had his best games in the past couple of games, but today he was on frightening form. If he plays like that against anybody, they'll have a really tough time against them. On to the Aberdeen team. Starting off with Mitov. Funny enough, I don't think there's all that much he can do for any of the 6 goals. Maybe he could try and come out for the Carter Vickers header. I don't remember him making any terrific saves. I think Celtic were just really clinical today, so I'm going to go for a 5.5 out of 10 for Mitov. Nicky Devlin, he looked tired today after the effort he put in against Rangers. Maeda ran him ragged. He's had an excellent season, but today was not a great game from his perspective. I'm going to go for a 5 out of 10 for Nicky Devlin. Rubicic, only thing I remember him doing of any note was fouling Kyogo and getting booked. Again, another one that's had a terrific season, but just got torn apart today. I think a 5 out of 10 for Rubicic as well. Gavin Malloy, I actually thought he did okay in the game at times, getting to the balls a wee bit better than Rubicic was. So I'm going to go for a 5.5 out of 10 for Gavin Malloy. And Jack McKenzie, again, a difficult day for him up against Nicholas Kuhn. So a 5 out of 10 for him as well. Pretty consistent scoring for the Aberdeen back line for this game. Graham Shinney, I thought it was quite a poor game from him from his standpoint. I thought he got beaten to every ball, basically. I don't know if the Aberdeen team were particularly tired after the game against Rangers where they put so much into it and Celtic just took full advantage of that. Celtic, of course, were able to rest a number of players against Dundee midweek. I'm going to go for a 4.5 out of 10 for Graham Shinney's performance today. Nielsen, again, one of the people I'd selected for the team of the season so far. I thought in the first half he actually did not too bad. Second half, I thought he was pretty non-existent. So I'm going to go for a 5.5 out of 10 for Nielsen. Kiskinen just couldn't get into it at all. He was subbed off at half time. There was one run where he tried to make where he was tackled when he tried to bomb forward. 4.5 out of 10 for him. Jamie McGrath, again, another one that was in my team of the season so far, but apart from his free kick effort, I don't remember him doing all that much, and then rolling the ball forward to Schmeichel. But, in terms of an attacking threat, he did actually probably come closest for Aberdeen. So I'm going to go for a 5.5 out of 10 for Jamie McGrath. Duke, again, biggest thing I've seen him do was foul Alistair Johnson and get booked for it. So I'm going to go for a 4.5 out of 10 for Duke today. And Esther Sockler, he just got no service whatsoever, apart from one cross from Jack McKenzie, which was headed wide. I think he might have been offside for it anyway. He did get booked as well in the game for a foul, and I think it was Rio Hatate. But he was starved of service today, however. He's kind of made service for himself at times. I think he's had a much better games than he played today. So I'm going to go for a 4 out of 10 for Esther Sockler. On to the first of the Celtic substitutes, Greg Taylor. I thought he was composed when he came on. I think a 4 out of 10 would be fair for Greg Taylor. Paolo Bernardo, until his flick for the 6th goal, I thought he was actually quite slack in possession at times. But of course, he gets that direct involvement for Dyson Maeda's 3rd goal of the game, the flick to Alistair Johnson. So I'm going to go for a 6 out of 10 for Paolo Bernardo in the end. Liam Scales came on to give Carter Vickers that wee respite, still recovering from that knock, of course. Wasn't really tested at all, so a 4 out of 10 I think is fair for Liam Scales. Adam Maeda, by the time he comes on, the game's dead and buried. He done a couple of hold-up plays, ball back to his midfield players. I think probably a 3.5 out of 10 for Adam Maeda off the bench today. And James Forrest, also a 3.5 out of 10, did okay in possession, of course. Beat his man a couple of times, but no direct involvements in a goal. So, apart from maybe he played the 4th pass in the build-up to Maeda's one, but I'm not going to count that as his major part played in that goal. The pass from Hatate and the flick from Bernardo and the cross from Johnson really was the main ones. So, 3.5. And then so Palaversa and Shaden Morris both came on at half time and couldn't really get into the game at all. I think a 3 out of 10 for the pair of them for that. Leighton Clarkson, he put himself about, gave a couple of fouls away, but again, 3 out of 10 for Leighton Clarkson. Peter Ambrose, I don't actually remember him ever touching the ball, so I think a 2 out of 10 for Peter Ambrose coming on. And I'm not going to score Precision because I don't think he was on for long enough to have any sort of meaningful impact in the game anyway. At that point, the game's gone, so there's not really much he can do by that point. On to the managers, Brendan Rodgers. I think he got it absolutely spot on today, from his starting 11 to the subs. Style of play, magnificent. I think a 9.5 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, one of the two. Take your pick. Sensational today to do that to what is currently the second best team in the country. He laid down a massive marker today with that. And it'll give the team a lot of confidence going into the game against Leipzig on Tuesday. I'm sure they won't be able to play the same way that they did against Aberdeen tonight against Leipzig. They might have to mix a couple of things up, maybe a couple of different people in the starting 11 to shoot it up a wee bit defensively. But yeah, it was close to a perfect performance as you can give for Brendan Rodgers and Celtic today. Jimmy Talleen, of course, it's a difficult one to grade him for this. I don't. Maybe a wee bit naive starting the exact same 11 that played against Rangers after putting so much into that game. In the way that Aberdeen play, it requires them to be extremely fit at all times. That is, of course, only his first defeat as Aberdeen manager, and it's an extremely heavy way to be handed that defeat. We will see if Aberdeen bounce back like Celtic did after getting heavily beaten by the same amount of goals, actually, as Dortmund did to them, 7-1 and a 6-0 today, or we'll see if this is the catalyst where Aberdeen start to take a confidence knock. Hopefully they don't take a confidence knock. Celtic can do that to anybody in the country on the day, but we'll see what happens with it. I think based off today, though, I think a 5.5 out of 10 for Jimmy Talleen. I think he could have maybe switched things up a wee bit and realised that the fitness levels weren't going to be there for it, and it just wasn't working. Something needed to change, and at the end of the day, you've been beaten 6-0, even if it is your only defeat since you've been taking charge. So with that is the reaction and the player and manager ratings for the League Cup semi-final that took place today. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe and turn the notification bell on, and feel free to check out the SPFL RTG on the channel. The newest episode was posted earlier today, and of course there's other videos as well, match reactions wise, and we have the Scottish Premiership team of the season so far, in my opinion, video that went up recently as well. I will do match reaction to the Motherwell Rangers game tomorrow, as well as potentially getting the next episode of the SPFL RTG uploaded as well. Until then, I'll catch you later.